Welcome to UK Front Row Seat, covering the inflationary collapse of the UK economy. This is episode 1, and basically we're going to talk about what you need to do and what you should know. So, firstly, gold and silver people are selling out fast. Stock is gone. I've been looking at the websites. I can't find any silver today. Today is Tuesday the 7th of April. I just cannot find anything. This is a serious situation. I'll tell you why. Because an inflationary global economic collapse is now underway. This will destroy your savings, your wealth, and the everyday currency that you use. What does this mean? Who does this impact? Should that we all be worried? Yes, basically we need to be worried. We need to take action because no one is immune. You need the knowledge to survive this crisis financially. What knowledge? How do you get it? From whom do you get it from? So what can this channel give you? Literally a front row seat on the UK's economic collapse. It's happening globally, but I'm based in the UK, so that's what I'm going to cover. We will attempt to identify the following. 1. The real world clues all around us to help us keep ahead of the curve and identify critical junctures in order to help with timing. Number 2. Important high-level economic and financial information to promote effective, quick decision making. At times like this, no one really knows the timing, so these are really important to look at, these types of infographics that I'm going to provide. We will also cover the high-level basics of the existing monetary system. It's very confusing, it's very complex, but we'll just break it down into those things that you should really know, that everyone should really know. So the chances of being a victim left in the dark in this situation, what's happening around us, this crisis, are reduced. The main call to action of these videos, is why I'm doing it, is to prepare ahead of time and in order for you to protect yourself with real money. That's really the main gist of what I'm doing. So you can protect yourself, you can help your friends and family, your neighborhood, etc. Okay, this is my legal disclaimer for this video. Please read it, make sure you understand it. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to give you now a very brief introduction as to how we got here. How did we arrive at this critical juncture in time? And how is it that an economic collapse is now underway, in progress? Basically, it stems essentially down to the fact that we have an existing debt-based fiat currency system. Our monetary system is essentially a Ponzi scheme. Now, before I go on, Google Mike Maloney's Hidden Secrets of Money series. Very good. That'll give you all the lowdown and way more detail that I'm giving you here. This is a must watch. You need to watch these videos by Mike Maloney. Essentially, what it is, every fiat currency unit, like pounds or dollars, that is created is brought into existence as debt. It's a debt instrument. It's issued with interest. So when the when the debt is paid back, there's never enough to pay back the interest. There's never enough currency to pay back the interest because the interest wasn't produced, it wasn't created. Only the actual currency unit, the pound or the dollar, was created. Therefore, we've covered this. Therefore, there's a requirement to constantly issue more debt. We have to constantly be issuing debt, otherwise the system implodes under a massive deflationary collapse, which is basically where we're at now, deflation. Okay, so implosion and deflation as of March 2000, with the coronavirus being the worst catalyst possible. The coronavirus isn't the cause of this. The coronavirus, sorry, just moving my screen out of the way. The coronavirus was just the pin that pricked the bubble. It could have been anything. It could have been Deutsche Bank failing. It could have been any number of reasons. However, the coronavirus is the worst possible because we are all locked down. We cannot do anything. The whole global economy is shut down. No one is doing anything apart from those people that are working from home. But there's been so many jobs lost now. There's going to be a really difficult time ahead in terms of recovery. Basically, there's not going to be a recovery for a long time. So what happens? why did this happen? So basically, we had such a large amount of debt. No one could take on any more debt for various different reasons. We basically hit a brick wall. So what's the central bank response to all this? Well, the central bank response is going to be saving the existing system. That's what they've done in the past. That's what they're doing now, essentially to preserve the existing power structures. This is essentially going to lead to the death of fiat currencies. All these things that I'm saying, I want you to take them, Google them, and get more information about them. I'm just giving you the search terms that you should be Googling. And then you can go on your own rabbit hole of discovery to work out what you need to know from there. This is only a very high level set of information. Okay, so basically we're going to get to the point where we have a massive deflation, and then I think we're going to have a massive inflation. What happens once fiat currencies are basically on the scrap heap is and all this debt is yet to be paid? Well, essentially there's two ways of doing it. One, you just get rid of the debt, you just cancel it. Debt forgiveness, that's a debt jubilee. Or basically you go the road of hyperinflation. You hyperinflate away the debt. Basically because then each currency unit is worth less and less and less, and basically the debt's worth nothing. It's not worth anything. That's basically what happened in most cases, Venezuela and Weimar Germany back in the day. I think personally all roads lead to high inflation and hyperinflation, and the only way this is going to be fixed is having sound money reinstituted, and there's going to be some sort of financial economic reset, whatever that may look like. Okay, so now hopefully you know a little bit about why we're here and the cause of all of this after doing some research yourself and looking at those Hidden Secrets of Money series by Mike Maloney that I said to look at. What's the impact going to be of this collapse? Well, essentially lots of hardship by everyday people. Even some of the wealthy are going to be finding it very difficult to survive financially because they haven't made the right decisions. Reduction of freedoms and rights, perhaps government's going to get a bit more Orwellian. They'll use this possibly as an opportunity to do that. Banking system collapse and lockdown. We've seen this before. Northern Rock, many other countries' systems and banking systems have failed, locking you out of your cash, or at least restricting it to a large extent. My advice right now would be to get out of this system. Get your savings and your wealth out of the banks. Look, the timing is very difficult. It's better to be years early than one day too late, though. There's going to be a huge transfer of wealth from those in the system, those remaining in the system, for example, those in the banks with their savings in the banks, to those who get out of the system. So what does that mean? It means get out of paper. I want you to Google Gerald Celente. He talks about, apologies if I haven't pronounced his surname correctly, he talks about all of this stuff that I'm just talking about now under these bullet points. Learn from him, he's really good. So essentially what he says is getting out of currencies, you're getting out, so that's pounds, dollars, etc. Get out of the stock market, get out of bonds. Bonds will either be inflated away, or they'll be the bond issuer will default. Get out your pensions if you can, if you're that age. I can't get out of my pension. Who knows what will happen to it? Will it be nationalized? I don't know. Get into hard assets. This is the clue. This is really important. This goes back to why the main call to action of this video. Get into precious metals and potentially cryptocurrencies. I don't know that much about cryptocurrencies. In fact, I don't know that much at all about cryptocurrencies. But if you want to know more about cryptocurrencies, if you think that's something that you want to get into, then do your research. There is a risk of confiscation with all these things, precious metals and cryptos. But then if they decide to confiscate our wealth that have been stored in these vehicles, these assets, then it's just game over for us anyway. We're not going to be able to do anything. Real estate, by the way, I personally think is propped up with debt. Well, it is propped up with debt for the large part of the population. So that's initially going to crash with a deflation, and then at some point in the future it may inflate. It probably will inflate, but I don't think right now at this point in time, when we're still in the deflationary phase of this collapse, real estate is a good hedge, a good asset to get into. If you've got another passport, if you've got multiple citizenship, I think that's fantastic. Really good if a country is being very nasty, what they're doing, what the government's doing. Always good if you can have another escape. Although these days, right now, I don't know if any country is going to be better than anything else. A lot of people move to various different countries in Central America. It's probably too late now, but if you've got multiple passports, good on you. I've already mentioned Joel Salente, so the only other thing I was going to mention is in the future, we may see significantly higher interest rates, because what will happen is in the inflation, once they print money, which we'll be talking about throughout this video series, essentially the currency is going to become worth less and less and less and less. It's going to inflate, could hyperinflate, and so the only way to stem that is to raise interest rates to restore some sort of confidence in the system, in the currency, in the government, etc. And to stop that currency from collapsing. Whether they do that, whether they're even able to do that given the amount of debt that we have now, I don't know. But I think generally that's one other reason you don't want to be leveraged. Pay off all your debts. Don't buy real estate. Get out your mortgages. If interest rates do go up in the future significantly, if you're paying any credit or interest, you're going to be in trouble. Okay, so in terms of survival, what can we all do to survive? So basically, this site here goes on and discusses all of these things here, and I want you to Google prepping. If you Google prepping, you'll find a bunch of sites done by people who have talked about all this stuff in economic collapse, in doomsday scenarios. What can you do? Those are I'm not going to go into all these things. I'll touch on them. All I'm going to say is the first thing you should be doing is removing all non-essential expenses. So that's your Netflix, that's your Stan, that's any really expensive broadband or sports channels. Do you really need that huge mobile phone contract? Stuff like that. So this website here talks about these. So first of all, consumables, stock up on food, do some panic buying. Everyone else is doing panic buying. Get your food in, get your everyday household items, because in a crash, when the S hits the fan, those things may be very hard to come by because the supply chains start failing. Resources, educate yourself, get your knowledge. That's why you're watching this video. That's why you're watching other people's videos out there. Are you good at DIY? If so, great. If you're not, can you learn some stuff quickly? Build your network of trust with family, friends, your neighborhood. In difficult times, you're going to need other people around you. It's going to be very difficult to survive out there yourself. By the way, the reason why I call it survival is because that's pretty much what it's going to be. It's not going to be very rosy. It's not going to be really enjoyable. It's most of the time, it's just going to be survival. If hyperinflation occurs, which I'm kind of leaning towards, I think it has a good chance of doing that. Okay, what's next? Equipment. Anything that you have or can get right now at this point in time that can provide you with an income stream that you can use or implement or do, that can give you income in these hard times. So if you're a mechanic and you have equipment and you can, people like need their cars fixed at some point, great. I'm just thinking, or if you can fix computers and you have the equipment to do that, great. Stuff like that. That ties in with your DIY skills and your education and your knowledge. Okay, very important point that most people could probably do, or should be. So most people could probably do and can be doing, because most people in this country will have some sort of savings, I'm assuming. So materials and money, okay? Anything that can be used to barter. So if we really go into dark days, the currency starts collapsing, what happens is we need to be able to not rely on that because it's going to be worthless currency. What can we use to barter? I'll swap my eggs for your cabbages, stuff like that. But precious metals, again, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, make sure you have gold and silver. Again, there is a shortage. It is being cleared out. It is going into hiding. It is being hoarded by people. It is good money driving out bad money right now. No one wants the worthless money because they're printing it into oblivion. Get your gold now, get your silver now before it's too late. Once it's gone, it's gone. No one will be selling it. They'll just be trading it in a barter economy because they're desperate for food and other things needed to survive. Other things that you can get: cigarettes, alcohol, razor blades, bandages, stuff like that. Everyday household items that will be really useful to people when times are tough. Okay, and what's the time frame for this? Well, look, no one knows, but the key is to be prepared beforehand. Do not regret. You can ignore reality. This is a great quote, by the way. You can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. What that basically means is you can stick your head in the sand, but that's not going to change the actual impact on your life. Therefore, act now whilst there is still time. I cannot emphasize enough what is going on around us. You can't see it really at the moment. You can read about it. You can watch the news. You can see what the government and the central banks are doing. But your life, probably, apart from maybe you've lost your job, that would be a massive impact, and therefore all the impacts on that. But times are still okay. Just act now. Yes, I'm talking doom and gloom, but this is the reality now. This is what is happening out there. My cousin used to say to me, get with the program. So I'm going to tell you, get with the program. Get with this program. Okay, what else is there? Look, systems usually end with fireworks. They end with a bang. This economic collapse possibly sees events unfold at an exponential rate. So what does that mean? It means things go quicker and quicker and quicker, and that's what's been happening so far. I've been following this for a while now. News events seem to be coming in thick and fast, so I think that's only going to get worse and worse. So I think we don't have that much time. Yes, governments will try and stave things off for a while. Central banks will stave things off. But as this nears the event horizon, things will come harder and faster. Watch what the government is doing, not what they're saying. So that's another clue. Look, as I said before, we'll be cluing you up on what's going on around you and what's going on around here. But definitely watch what's going on with the government. Okay, look, I'd like to thank you for watching this video. I hope it was really useful to you. I've put some links just next to myself here for my other videos. We're going to be talking a lot more about these things. I'm going to be showing you some information, some data, some simple infographics, explaining a few more things, just so we can keep on top of what's happening. Please subscribe to the channel, like it, share it with your friends and family, and I hope to see you next time.